Cannabis Investor. My name is Alyssa Boston, and today our guest is Narbe Alexandrian, President and CEO of Canopy Rivers. Hi Narbe, how are you doing today?
Good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you for being on the channel. Could you give us a quick pitch on the company? If you only had 30 seconds, how would you describe Canopy Rivers?
Yeah, so Canopy Rivers is a venture capital firm specializing in cannabis. Our mission is to invest in innovators to build the cannabis companies of the future. So we do more than just supply capital. We help companies out, backed by our expertise in our domain of knowledge of so many companies that we've seen. We help companies get from point A to point Z and helping them understand how to go through the ecosystem and how to create a better company. Our thesis, if I take a step back, is that vertical integration is very hard to do. Unless you're one of the cannabis giants that has $4 or $5 billion of capital, it's very hard to do everything from farming to extracting to CPG to pharma to retail and distribution. We believe that companies should be doing 1 to 3 things very well, and we help them fit themselves into the rest of the value chain or within the Canopy growth ecosystem as well.
Can you compare your business model to a traditional LP? What are some benefits and what are some drawbacks that you see?
Yeah, so we're very different from an LP. Our job is to be investors within the space. So we don't cultivate, we don't extract, we don't do anything. Our entire team is made up of professionals from banking, consulting, and venture capital and private equity space, which specialize in investing in companies of tomorrow. So we don't look at what's going on right now, we look at what's going on in the future. We've been blessed by seeing so many pitches to date. Over the last 17 to 18 months, we've seen over 2,000 pitches. We've seen over 4,500 entrepreneurs. So we have a really good understanding of where things are going versus where things are. Whenever we have these conversations with entrepreneurs, we ask them about what differentiates them, what gives them a competitive advantage. We also look at ways of how they are doing something different than anybody else is. We take all that, we take that knowledge, we talk to so many companies within a certain space, and we get to chart where this industry is headed to and who those players are that are going to become the next big behemoths of tomorrow.
What are your thoughts on entering the U.S. market? Where do you see the U.S. and Canadian cannabis industry in 5 years?
Yeah, so the U.S. market is going to be one of the biggest markets in the cannabis space. The U.S. typically represents 20 to 30% of any global of the global economy. So it is definitely a place that we have our eyes set on. Legalization can't come soon enough. There's over 33 states that have legalized cannabis in some which way. More are coming down the pipeline. There's a bit of a difference between Canada and the U.S. In Canada, we have a fully legalized framework. There's more R&D and innovation that one can do, whether that be through how you encapsulate cannabis to emulsification, how you put it in a drink that doesn't make it so cloudy, all the way down to some of the pharmaceutical attributes that you do see. Because of federal legalization in Canada, you can do all that. Versus in the U.S., we see that primarily as an area where brands do grow. So we see some really cool brands coming out of the West Coast, specifically in LA, and how they're translating into becoming licensable opportunities across the U.S. However, the U.S. is going to experience some sort of a reset as the country gets closer and closer to legalization. We believe that for true interstate commerce, they all have to talk to one another, and to talk to one another, they have to have the same language. So someone has to come in and teach them all what to do, the same language, whether that be a brand new set of regulations that the federal authorities put into place, or maybe the highest common denominator being California.
Well, speaking about the beverage industry, it continues to be one of the fastest growing segments in the market. After reviewing pitches of roughly 2,000 startup deals, Canopy Rivers has identified 115 cannabis brands disrupting the beverage industry. Can you explain what Canopy Rivers looks for in a brand, and what are the characteristics that set these deals apart from the other startups that you've looked at?
Yeah, the number one characteristic we look for in a brand is the ability to understand the consumer. So a lot of brands that you see right now are trying to become the Coke and Pepsis. They're trying to get mass market appeal, trying to appeal to every single person, whether they're a brand new millennial that just passed the legal age and is getting into the cannabis space, all the way up to the senior that's out there. What we're looking for are companies that are hyper-focused on specific niches, whether that be women, people of younger generations, older generations, athletes, you name it, arthritis, muscle and joint pain. We're looking for those hyper-focused companies that they're talking to their customers, understand what their needs are, understand what their pain points are, and trying to solve them. That's number one. The second piece we look at is distribution. We think distribution is very important. You could have the best brand in the world, you could have the best product in the world, but unless you're on the shelf in multiple locations, consumers aren't going to see it. A lot of the decisions consumers make are defined at the retail channel when they're in the store and they figure out what it is they want to buy. One of the anecdotes we always like to use is that the reason Coke and Pepsi are so big isn't because of the marketing budget they have, it's because any quick service, fast food, or restaurant that you go to serves Coke and Pepsi, and you typically do see one of those large fridges in there. So the same thing applies to the cannabis space. Lastly, what we look for are entrepreneurs that have a crazy passion for this industry. So people that cannot sleep at night because they keep thinking about ways they can expand it, ways they can help policy, ways they can give back to social reform. That type of passion really reflects on their business and really makes it easy for us to invest because, quite frankly, they don't need that much help. They're great entrepreneurs. They can just run with the thing on their own.
What does Canopy Rivers need to see in a beverage deal before making an investment? And do you plan on making any additional investments in the beverage space in 2020?
Yeah, so one of the things we want to really understand is how the emulsification of cannabis is within the drink and what that shelf life looks like. In Canada, you need to have a shelf life of approximately 6 months to be even on the shelf. So we want to really understand, like, how is it that they put the cannabis in the bottle? What is the carrier oil they're using? Is it MCT? Is it olive oil? Does it look cloudy? People want a drink that they can carry around in a clear glass that they're proud of, that they can take around with them to a party or to a social setting. So we take that piece very seriously. And you get into more of the sciences about how it breaks the blood-brain barrier or how nanoemulsification works. And we have a whole team of scientists here that really help us out and that we get help from Canopy Growth as well. What we're really in tune for, again, is that hyper-focused company that is creating a product for a certain demographic. So we've invested in 2 companies, Greenhouse Juice and Herbert. Greenhouse Juice is what we call the Monday Morning. It's the largest cold-pressed juice company in Canada. And they've created a beverage line that's in supermarkets and fast food chains and quick service restaurants that really caters towards that. Everything is organic within the product. It's easy to drink. The price point is favorable. And they're looking to add CBD within their drinks as well. On the Herbert side, we call this more of a Friday night. Herbert's focus is to create drinks that have not only cannabis in it, but other botanicals as well that help with everything from sleep to energy to focus. And we're looking to launch that piece as well. Herbert is founded by the same principles as Greenhouse, so they're using the same facility. So there's a lot of economies of scale there.
For investors interested in learning more about Canopy Rivers stock, where can they go to get more information on the company?
Absolutely. Our website is www.canopyrivers.com, and we trade on the Toronto Stock Exchange under TSX RIV, and under the OTC under CNPOF.